Hello guys, and welcome back to another Foodie Friday video that is, I guarantee, not going to be up on Friday because your girl is really struggling to get back onto a regular schedule. That being said, everything that we're doing today is going to be things that I've never done before. So we're just going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to start with some blueberry cheesecake cookies. And then I want to do that viral whipped coffee, which I wanted to do a while back, but with everything that's happened in the past couple months, I just didn't get a chance to film it. But I really want to see what the big hype is on this whipped coffee, so we're going to try that. And then for a little twist, I'm going to go ahead and make some homemade cashew milk for the whipped coffee. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into Foodie Friday. Okay guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the blueberry cheesecake cookies. Side note, this is gonna be one of the last videos I do of unhealthy food for a little while. Your girl has not been working out, I've not been keeping on top of fitness, and I absolutely have not been eating the way I should. So I think for the next few videos, it's gonna be more healthy options. So let's have some fun and have a little treat day here. So I'm going to be following a recipe that is from Cooking with Carly. So to get started, the ingredients that you're going to need are a half a cup of softened butter, which I melt my butter, 4 ounces of cream cheese that you're going to want to bring to room temperature, a half a cup of sugar, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a 7-ounce package of blueberry muffin mix. You can use raspberry muffin mix, whatever muffin mix you want. About 3/4 of a cup of flour, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, and you want a half a cup of the white chocolate chips. So I have already went ahead and preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to go ahead and get to mixing. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take our cream cheese, our butter, and a half a cup of sugar. So let's go ahead and use the mixer and go ahead and cream these all together. At that point, I'm going to go ahead and take 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of my vanilla. And for this, I'm just going to go ahead and cream these into the mixture with my spatula. It smells good. It smells like cheesecake. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a different bowl, and I'm going to go ahead and take my muffin mix, my flour, and my baking powder, and I'm going to just kind of whisk those all together in a separate bowl. So 3/4 of a cup of flour, and then half a teaspoon of baking powder. Now while I'm doing this, what was really interesting to me is most of the recipes call for like Jiffy or something like that, but this is Crusties. I'll be honest with you, when I went and bought this, there was no options for muffin mix, so this was kind of all there was. But what I really like is it has canned fresh blueberries, so instead of having like dried blueberries in the actual muffin mix, you add these separately. So if you're using something like this, my recommendation would be, I'm going to go ahead and add the blueberries into the cream cheese and butter egg mixture before I put the flour in with it, since this is a liquid. I don't know. I mean, that's the whole concept, right? So let's go ahead and get this baking powder in. Just whisk these together real quick. I don't know why I'm so fascinated by this, but every muffin mix I've ever bought has like dry fruit, and this is like, I mean, obviously it's not fresh. And I wish I had some fresh blueberries, because since this is just the mix, I don't know. You know, I didn't think about these things when I was coming up with this idea. So I'm going to take the blueberries and I'm going to mix it into the wet mixture really quick. I'm going to go ahead and take my dry mixture and a little bit at a time just start mixing it in. I'm going to take my whisk and I'm just going to slowly start whisking in my flour. Ooh. Never fails when I'm baking. So next we're going to go ahead and take our white chocolate chips. We need a half a cup of these. I'm going to go a little over because can't go wrong with some white chocolate chips. Okay, that's enough. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and just mix these in really quick. So, yeah, that's it. It looks horrible. I think it's because, you know, I think it's because of the wet blueberries, honestly. Mixing them together like this, I think they just got all mushed up. And they just kind of turned everything purple. I mean, you should still get the same flavor, I'm assuming, but it looks like a child made this. So at this point, I am going to go ahead and grab my baking sheet. We're going to scoop these out into some, I guess, normal cookie-sized scoops and throw it in the oven for 12 minutes. And it literally says until the edges start to brown just a tad. Let's just put them in for 12 minutes. I'll check them at 10 minutes and then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and get these onto a pan first. So this is our dough. It's very purple. Like I said, I think it's because of the fresh, or not fresh, but the canned blueberries and them not being dry. I don't know. I'm assuming if I would have got the boxes with the dried blueberries that they wouldn't have came out so purple. But here we are. Alright, so first batch rolled out and going in the oven. Alright guys, so for our next task, we are going to go ahead and get our cashew milk ready for the whipped coffee. So for that, you are going to need to take 1 cup of cashews and soak them in water. It does say to soak them for at least 4 hours or overnight. I've been soaking mine for maybe 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours. And then you're going to need 4 cups of water. 1 to 2 tablespoons of either maple syrup, honey, or nectar. We're going to be using honey. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, a dash of salt, and a pinch of cinnamon. I am going to go ahead and absolutely use the pinch of cinnamon. It does say it's optional, but since we're doing this for a coffee recipe, I want to add the cinnamon in there. And I got this recipe from cookieandkate.com. I will link the website down below. If I'm not mistaken, this is the same one that was used by Julian Solomita. But the big thing with this is that he has a high-powered blender, and like I said, the main reason I'm doing the cashew milk is because supposedly you can do this in a traditional blender. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cashews that have been soaking in this really nasty looking water, and I am going to go ahead and strain and rinse them, and it says to rinse them until the water runs clear, so whatever that means, that's what I'm going to go do right now. Now once we have our cashews all strained, we're going to go ahead and dump them into our absolutely regular Hamilton Beach blender. Alright, so once we have the cashews in, we're going to go ahead and blend in 2 cups of water. The other 2 I guess will come later. And I put our handy dandy lid on. And so the instructions say to start at your lowest setting and slowly work your way up. And they said usually with a traditional blender, that can take up to like 2 minutes or more. So yeah, I'm gonna just sit here and blend for a little while.
A few moments later. More moments later. Much later.
Okay, so I've been blending that for 5 minutes. I don't really know anymore. It's been a while. I don't see any more chunks in it. It looks very milky. Next, we're gonna take 2 more cups of water. Then we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. It then says 1 to 2 tablespoons of honey, so I'm just gonna do like 1.5. Then it calls for a dash of salt, so a little dash. It's probably a little too much. And then a pinch of cinnamon, so sure, that's a pinch. And then we're gonna go ahead and just really quickly blend this one more time. Alright, before we go into straining and dealing with that situation, I'm gonna go ahead and check on our cookies. So this is our first batch of cookies, and as you can probably tell, they didn't flatten out at all. I mean, they smell really good, but they look awful. And I think for the next one, I'm going to maybe try to flatten out the dough a little bit when I put it in there so that they'll look more like cookies and not more like whatever this is. Okay, so second batch of cookies is in. I flattened them out a little bit so that hopefully they won't be super weird. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to take 2 strainers on top of each other, or sifters, on top of each other and put them over this little bowl. And we're gonna go ahead and pour this through. And you know what? I think they're right. Like I said, this is just a regular blender, but I don't really see, I mean, it's kind of foamy and frothy, but I don't really see any residual. It looks like it blended up the cashews almost completely. So that's awesome, guys, because if you like nut milks, if you're vegan, you don't have to have a high-powered blender to make cashew milk. So that's super interesting. My only concern is going to be, what does it taste like? So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put this into a different container and put it in the fridge, and then we will get into our whipped coffee recipe. Wow, guys, we have cashew milk. Looks a little foamy, but cashew milk! Yay! I never in a million years thought I would be making nut milk at home. This is crazy to me. But I'm going to put this in the refrigerator because obviously it's warm and I want nice cold milk with my whipped coffee. Alright guys, so the last batch of cookies is all done. And yeah, at least flattening them out made them look more like cookies. They smell delicious. They look weird. So I'm going to go ahead and place these on a tray to cool. Alright, so now it's time to go ahead and get our whipped coffee done. And so I don't know who originally made this went viral or where it came from. I've seen quite a few people post it. Julian Solomita is the one who did the, with the homemade cashew milk. Chiicheme, I'm going to link her below. She's a smaller YouTuber. She did the cutest video, and she actually did, I think, a cookie similar to this and a whipped coffee as well. And hers was like the most hilarious video I've seen on the internet thus far. So all you're going to need for this is literally 2 tablespoons of instant coffee, 2 tablespoons of cane sugar, and 2 tablespoons of water. Now that being said, I absolutely hate instant coffee, and I used to be a really avid coffee drinker. I don't drink it as much now, but I get a feeling this is going to taste awful, but it looks super fun to make. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I already have my water in my bowl. I'm going to go ahead and take my little Nescafe instant coffee and then 2 tablespoons of sugar. Alright, and once I have those in my bowl, you're just gonna, I guess, mix it. It says 400 times, but obviously I'm just gonna blend it until it looks like that kind of meringue, consistency that you see with the whipped coffees on the internet. So here we go.
One eternity later.
Okay, so this has been mixing all together way too long, and it's still very liquidy, because, I mean, it's definitely been way more than 400 mixes on this thing, and I mean, it's not even close. So I'm going to add just a dash more of the coffee and a dash more of the sugar. So I went ahead and just used half a teaspoon, so, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Back to mixing.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Okay, now that looks like whipped coffee. Much, much, much better. So, there you go. And it is fun to make, but why would you do this? It takes forever. I mean, I've been sitting here mixing for 8-10 minutes with a mixer, and some people try to do this by hand, but it's whipped. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing my taste testing. Alright, so first things first, I want to try the whipped coffee. I'm gonna just take a little taste before I mix it in with my cashew milk. Absolutely not. It tastes like instant coffee in whipped form. I mean, it's not terrible, but I think it's more so just the fun of making it. But let's go ahead and get that cashew milk out. So my cashew milk's all cold. It seems to have settled just a little bit, so I'm going to mix it up. So I want to try a little bit of the cashew milk by itself, just to see how that came out. Wow, it looks really like milk. So let me try this. You know, honestly, this tastes better than the cashew milk you get at the store. This is really good. A little bit more cinnamon, and it almost reminds me of like a horchata. Horchata. The cashew milk's perfect. And there's no, it tastes like cashew milk. There's no, it really doesn't need a lot of straining. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this about, let's say halfway. And then we're gonna go ahead and pile on my whipped coffee mixture. Alright guys, so there it is, the viral whipped coffee. I finally got a chance to make it with my wonderful tasting cashew milk. Yeah, I mean, it tastes like instant coffee, so if you're a big coffee fan, unless you have an instant coffee that you really like, it just tastes like instant coffee. So there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little spoon and probably make a huge mess and just kind of mix this in with my cashew milk and see how it tastes then. This is so much work. Mixing it's work. It doesn't taste good alone, you know, so I want to mix it with my milk, and then it's just gonna be like a creamy coffee. So it's like very cute trend. Very nice, you know, for Instagram. Realistically, something I would make more often? No, not at all. This is messy and annoying. Okay, so there's my messy mug. I somewhat mixed it up and no, absolutely not. This is disgusting. No, thank you. Don't like it at all. Alright, so let's get to the funner part. Cookies. So, as you can see, here is our blueberry cheesecake cookies. I've been dying to try them because they've been sitting in front of me for an hour. But I've waited to taste test them. So let's go ahead and see how these came out. These look ridiculous. They are delicious. They definitely taste more blueberry than cheesecakey. If I was going to do this recipe again, the only thing is I would probably do more of a homemade mix versus like buying a muffin mix, and then just throw in my own fresh blueberries. Not really sure why I didn't think of that to begin with. And it definitely needs a little bit more cream cheese because it's a little cheesecakey, but I really, really like that cheesecakey flavor. So I would just add a little bit, maybe instead of 4 ounces of cream cheese, maybe go 6 ounces of cream cheese. But other than that, these are absolutely delicious. So these came out really, really good. Yeah, I really like the cookies. Alright guys, so that is pretty much it for this video. I finally got to make the viral whipped coffee. Was it fun to make? No, it took forever. Was it fun to look at? Absolutely. It's really neat and cool to see it whip up like that. It tastes awful, but I hate instant coffee anyways, so, you know, I kind of was somewhat expecting that. I was hoping for different. Blueberry cheesecake cookies are so delicious, and that cashew milk, if you're into nut milks at all, try that. You don't even need a high process blender or cheesecloth to strain it. Like, you can just use a regular sifter, but the cashew milk came out absolutely amazing. I'm super impressed with that. That's probably my favorite part of everything I've done for this video. So I'm probably going to take some of the cashew milk, put it in a little mug, and drink it with some of my cookies and enjoy the rest of my evening. So thank you again for tuning in, guys. Again, please like this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not done so already, and share with your friends. It's greatly appreciated, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.